This is The Baseline, discussing the hot button topics of the NBA.
Welcome, everybody. You are tuned to The Baseline. Cal Lee Warrenshaw discussing the hot button topics of the NBA. And this is our premiere series, new series that we're rolling out. Really excited, man. I love when we expand in so many different spaces and different places. But, man, it's the same name, man. It's always trying to change the game. Let me go ahead and roll out the red carpet to my right-hand man, www.shawsports.net, Big Kahuna PNC, my brother, Mr. Warren Shaw, repping out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. But I know that he's much closer to me than we think. What's going on, man?
Always, man. We're brothers in arms, brothers in the struggle, just brothers in general. And we're always going to continue to do what we do here on The Baseline. An amazing show with an amazing guest, almost in some ways a blast from the past. It's great to kind of catch up and do some a little new segment, as you alluded to, with the brand new series that we're rolling out here tonight, bro.
Yes, man, definitely. So as always, man, we have been fortunate in our ability to bring on some really great guests and to really expand, the conversation about how important it is, not just for the game, for the sport, but also the businesses that are impacting the sport. And normally we tend to forget that they also have a cultural effect on our everyday lives, on how we move forward. Maybe for yourself, your personal space, your personal well-being. Well, we are just so excited as a premier first guest for this series, Branded, to have Danyel Surrency Jones. She is the co-founder and CEO of Powerhandz. And if people are not familiar with Powerhandz, Powerhandz is a premier brand that specializes in global athletic and rehabilitation tech. And when I say that this company, this entity that Danyel has built, it is spread like wildfire. And we are so fortunate to be able to get her on board as our first guest, to catch her in the mist while she's making everything just burn. Right? And so in a few moments, we will have Danyel Surrency Jones on board to talk about the company, to talk about the initiative, to so many things that she has going on, and the encouragement that I think we are going to feel at the end of this. I'm sure you guys will not be disappointed. As always, we appreciate those who tune in and listen to our show, the Baseline NBA Podcast. As always, get at my man Shaw at Shaw Sports NBA, or get at me at GameFace Lee, the show's Twitter handle at NBA Baseline. Available on all the major platforms. You know where to find us. Just look for the Baseline NBA Podcast. Attach this to your playlist and allow us to be your go-to resource discussing all things happening in the association. Also, be sure to check out the Baseline if you miss any episodes via our website, www.thebaselinenba.com. That's right. Our show has a home. So however you listen to us, you can go directly to our website, be able to catch up on some previous episodes and catch up on the current episodes. Just go directly to our home site, thebaselinenba.com. Let's get this started. Let's do it right. This is the premiere episode of Branded with the Baseline right now. And here to kick off our premiere episode of Branded, a series that Sean and I are really excited about, having meaningful conversations with individuals who are power players, making a difference, not just in the NBA space, but just in general. We have really one of the more premier named people in the business who is making things happen. She is the co-founder, CEO of Powerhandz. Her journey in the business world is really unbridled. It is Danyel Surrency Jones. Thank you for hopping on board with us this week in our premiere episode of Branded. And we are really excited to talk about not just the brand, but also the work that you're doing in the business community.
Kyle, thank you so much. And I'm just going to bottle that intro up so that I don't have to introduce myself ever again. Thank you. I'm humble. I appreciate that. And congratulations to you and Warren for this amazing platform.
Well, we want to first thank you. And also shout outs to my partner in crime, Warren. We have been really talking about this, that we've been very fortunate to be in a unique space to meet with and speak with really dynamic individuals who are making things happen that don't normally get talked about in our circles. And we come across a lot of people who come back and ask us, they say, man, it would be really great if you could have a conversation, with some of these brands that are really doing things. And we're just fortunate to be able to say, hey, let's get together and let's make this happen. And I don't think that we'd have been able to pick up on someone who's making those kind of power moves such as yourself. So let this be about what you're doing and what Powerhandz is doing, because the brand with Powerhandz and we were fortunate enough to sit down and have a conversation some time ago, and clearly you guys are now like treading the path. But talk about that journeys thus far in what Powerhandz has been doing. What is the present state for you guys, and what does it mean for you to be one of the premier brands in global athletic rehabilitation tech product?
Well, first of all, I really appreciate, again, you putting us in that category. So yes, Powerhandz is a global athletic training and rehabilitation product tech company. And, the journey over the last 6 years has just been that, a journey. And it continues, right? Just like the marathon continues, this journey continues. And we truly started, and Warren connected with us in the beginning with that one product that became a patented product, one vision in the basketball space, when we noticed, of course, there was a lack of skill development, and that kids, not just professionals, weren't getting back to the fundamentals of sport, right? And really training, and they weren't seeing the behind the scenes training that was taking place like you see it today. They thought that people just got out there and they, performed their natural freak athleticism, and boom, that was it. And we wanted to create a company, and we have over the last 6 years, where people understand that you truly take your natural athletic ability, combine that with the fundamentals of training and products and devices, right, that help you push your performance to the next level. And so we are proud. That's what we've been able to do over the last 6 years. We started with that one patent. We now have 4 patents. We have trademarks. We've been able to scale into multiple countries, having sold in over 86 countries, with distribution models in Europe, distribution models in the Philippines, working on Africa right now. Very excited about that. We have an omni-channel where, again, just so very blessed during COVID, where, we became that one-on-one training for a professional athlete, for a youth athlete, and a fitness enthusiast. And they could contact us. We could meet them where they are via Walmart.com, Target.com, Amazon.com, Powerhandz.com. I'll tell you about a new relationship we'll be launching into. So that omni-channel has been big for us. And then I have to shout out our partners. We would not be a company if it wasn't for the fact that we understand the importance of recognizing the coach, right, who may have 500 followers online, to the influencer who may have multi-million followers online, right? We value every person that breathes the word Powerhandz out their name, and that understands the culture of our company and what we're trying to create in the community. And so our affiliate program, I don't know if you remember, Warren, but back then we started out with 1, and now we've got over 400, and it's growing very rapidly. We're being very intentional about building those partnerships with coaches, with fitness trainers, influencers, skill development coaches, etc., and as well as with our Hands of the Future kids. So it's been a journey, and we are very appreciative.
Lots to unpack there. Because let me say this. One of the things that I love about the brand and what you all do is that everything is truly organic. There's no fakeness to it. It's all about really trying to get to the heart of the sport, about the heart of development and the heart of the people, really and truly. And I think you talked about the last 6 years. The last 6 months have been insane. as a result of the pandemic and so forth. Talk a little bit more about how you were able to position yourself, because in some ways I see it. People were at home. So now is an opportunity to better yourselves from a skills development standpoint, working out, whatever that you want to do. And you all were uniquely positioned to capture that flag immediately and run with it. Just talk a little bit about how you were able to make sure that that did happen for you in the way that it has in the last 6 months.
Yeah, thank you for that, Warren. And we do feel fortunate. I mean, over 50% of small businesses have closed, even with the $700 billion of capital that was injected, right, from the government. So for us, since March, for our sales to have increased the way they have across the omnichannel, we attribute that to a couple of things. One, what we've done over the last 6 years is we've really taken a look at our product portfolio, and we make sure that we have a quality product, right? That we're launching, and that we are listening to our consumers. As we were listening to our consumers in this unprecedented time and crazy environment, we realized, right, that we needed to, again, meet them where they are from a standpoint of not selling, but serving. Like, what do we do to really serve you at this time? And that's when we started creating our online master classes, right? We're having one on Saturday with Pat the Rock and with Peyton Kemp. And those online classes have given us an opportunity to not just talk, but teach, and really focus on, how do you take the Powerhandz product, what you're doing when you're training in your garage, in your house, in your backyard, and how does that help you now that you can't train with your coaches, you can't go to a gym, etc. And that's worked really well for us across the athletics piece and the fitness piece as well, with our product portfolio there. The other thing that we really did is we strengthened our partnerships. I mean, I talk about those affiliates, people, you would be so surprised, and we shouldn't now, but during a pandemic, how much people need each other, right? We started social distancing, and I said I had an opportunity to create personal intimacy with myself and really like scale out all the noise. And then when I scaled out all the noise, I realized that we had these partners in the form of coaches, trainers, etc., that needed our help. They knew how to train, but from a business aspect, they really didn't know how to put that business model and framework together to sustain during this time. So we reached out to them, we partnered with them, we brought on some new organic relationships and ambassadors, and that's been really key for us. The third thing that I would say, we created a more robust advertising strategy. You see the numbers, right? We see how e-commerce has increased in online shopping, and that won't go away. That people now understand the convenience, and e-commerce is definitely here to stay. So our advertising strategy, we really analyzed what our customer behaviors were across Facebook, across Instagram, across YouTube, and we put more robust strategies in place across our omni-channel to, again, meet customers where they are.
Danyel Jones joining us here on the Baseline. Be sure to check out their website, Powerhandz, POWERHANDZ.com. Also available on Instagram as well too, at Powerhandz. I love what you had mentioned regarding reshaping and reimagining how you need to reach out, not just to your base, but also in a broader sense, the platform that you're trying to build in showing people that your product is not just something for a methodology of consumption. It's also for a methodology of learning, of teaching. And in ways, I would like to see you talk a little bit more about what that is like, because you are also not just a CEO, you're also a mom, right? And you're also a woman of color. And in these unprecedented times when minorities feel like there are not enough resources available for the things that keep them whole, keep them sane, especially during a pandemic, what has that meant for you knowing that you are in the center of something that can really broaden people's appreciation for some of the tools that are out there to help not just themselves as parents, but also their children in them being able to play sport, but play it at a skilled level because the products that they have access to gives them that edge that normally they wouldn't have access before.
Um, Cal, it's heavy, right? It's humbling and it's heavy to know that we have created these innovative lines of products, and kids and parents and people depend on us in multiple countries. The pressure, right?
I mean, yeah,
I'm keeping it.
NBA finals ain't pressure.
Oh
This
my,
is pressure,
yeah.
right?
And that's for me, that's what you want to feel. You want to feel the pressure of something that is greater than you. And that's how I feel. I feel that my moment, and when we're creating and when our team is producing and when we are serving and meeting expectations of our customers and creating strategic partnerships, that this is greater than me. And because of that, I work my tail off. And so you talk about, the balance. I often talk about the imbalance is my balance, because being a mom of two, right, and then managing uh, homeschooling during that time, being a wife, right, and who is also a business partner in our adventure, in our business ventures, being a daughter who hasn't seen her parents, right? They're 80 years old because of COVID. Um, it's been a lot. And one of the things that so one, I'm absolutely humbled and blessed, and I take that very seriously, and I take what we do very seriously. And that's why I want to keep meeting and exceeding expectations of our customers. And two, I think what has come out of this from a COVID perspective, as well as social injustice, especially, oh my gosh, in lieu of the verdict on yesterday, a couple of things. One, the mental health piece. I am very open and cannot stress enough for our entrepreneurs, for our families, for people in general, to make sure that you are taking care of you, that you're giving yourself oxygen during this time, that you are recognizing that it's okay not to be okay, and that if you need to speak with someone to level set, do that, right? Number two, in regards to women and Black owned businesses, it's it's really sad to me that people had to lose their life and their last breath in order for us to live and for us to wake up and for our brilliance to be seen. And that's what's happening today. People some are doing it for the trend, and some are doing it because they recognize, wow, this is an underserved market where, for instance, women and Black owned business, women owned businesses are the fastest growing segment of startups, but get the least amount of funding. What an oxymoron, right?
Yep.
So one, how do we bring that to the table and the attention to fix that? And I think that because of everything that's going on in the world, that is now brought to light, and there's more attention that will be had, and will make that better. And then, the last piece is the uncomfortable conversations. I have been in uncomfortable environments my entire career. And I've become comfortable with the uncomfortable. And now I'm so glad that the uncomfortable is it's bold. It's exuberating. It's a moment to connect. It's a moment to fix what's wrong. What's uncomfortable is a bridge builder right now. We are talking about things no matter how anybody feels from a political standpoint, the social injustices, etc. This is the first time in my generation, and in our generation, I'm sure, that we have ever had these very open conversations from a social media standpoint. We've had large organizations like the NBA, the NFL, owners, etc., people that have economic power and influence that are now waking up. This is huge. It's so all of that is heavy for me, right? And I push forward and I balance that by doing what I do every day because I know that it impacts so many people and that it's helping them. It's helping them get better and helping them survive this moment.
One of the things that I always think about in dealing with people in general is that no one person is any one thing. As Kyle alluded to, right? You're not just an owner, and you're a mom, and you're a daughter, everything. You have so many roles in essence to play, as just as a human being, right? And especially even more so now in the times in that we're in. And you gave a great TED talk. I watched good majority of that, and just understanding. I think some of the things you just spoke about speak to that whole. What do people see when they see you? Do they see one thing, or do they see all the things that you can be potentially, in that aspect? And what I kind of even want to ask you is even doubling down on that some of your affiliates and the people that you work with, what has it been like for them working through you and your organization and company to try to respond in the way that they wanted to? Like a good friend of mine, Irv Rowland, is one of your ambassadors and affiliates. Irv is an amazing dude, right? And I know he's passionate about the issues that are happening here right now. How is Powerhandz going in and giving the resources to them to continue to spread that message of goodwill and justice that needs to be out there in the way that you all are doing?
Warren, thank you. And Matt, wow, I did not know my TEDx was going to be a setup for the environment today. Black Elephant in the Room is the title of that, and truly, unpacking what diversity and inclusion looks like and how we use our collective brilliance to push forward and make this economy better. Um, Irv is a complete example. Oh my gosh, he is the perfect poster child, right, of partnership. He has incredible experience. He has passion for things in the community, and he is the essence of who Powerhandz fam truly is. So, what we have been able to do is through our Power to Give Foundation, right? We started day one with the socially conscious mission, making sure that we coupled our what we're doing on the nonprofit side and we took profits from that, right? And we made sure we were in the community, underserved communities, to make sure that youth and very important causes, that you made sure you gave attention to those things so that the kids, the parents, community can benefit, right, from programming, not only just focus on athletics, but academic excellence as well. And during COVID, we shifted, right, a little bit. We were able to, from a Power to Give perspective, give to youth and their parents, of course, our innovation that couldn't afford it, through contests, through give backs, etc., give to frontline workers as well. But we're also able to use our voice, right, for the Breonna Taylors, the George Floyds, the Ahmauds, that everyone, right? And we were able to take that and not be shy about it for the very first time in life. I've never talked about the fact that we're a Black owned business. I've never talked about the fact that we're a double minority owned business via social. I've never talked about slavery and my ancestors, that I am pushing forward to make sure that I make them proud and that I give everything based on what my ancestors have paved the way for me. I've never talked about any of that. So I was bold. I said, we're going to talk about it. We're not only going to post on Powerhandz, I'm going to post on my social pages, and we're going to let people know who we are, what we stand for, what's the DNA of our brand, and join us, support, and we're going to support you. And that's what we did. The other thing that we've been very intentional about, and I'm super excited, is right now we have a campaign, a tour that's called The Power of the Vote. And I have joined with one of my dear friends and women that I admire so much in business, Dee Dee McGuire, who's one of the only women-owned syndicated stations with K104 and Compass Media. We have created this tour campaign called The Power of the Vote with Power to Give and Dee Dee McGuire Foundation, where we've been very intentional with going to areas where there's voter suppression, we feel, and where we feel people need to be educated and registered. And our entire campaign is, how do we get as many people registered to vote as possible? So we have just completed 2 of our sites. We're in Fort Worth on next Tuesday with teachers and students, getting people registered to vote, getting students ID cards that are old enough so that they can register to vote, getting them signed up for an appointment, and getting volunteers registered for the polls. And we're going to end with a spectacular moment and rally where we bring athletes together, we bring the community together, we bring youth together. We do a power fit workout, right? Blending the fitness and health. And we're going to get people excited about using their voice in this election. So those are some of the examples that we've been doing.
Co-founder and CEO Danyel Jones here, on Branded with Cal Lee and Warren Shaw. I have to tell you, this last few moments of you talking about the initiatives that Powerhandz is fully vested in is absolutely phenomenal. Shaw and I have many conversations on the side, and I've been just a staunch advocate in the understanding that if there is an enthusiasm to vote, there has to be a recognition that there are way too many forces in play that suppresses the empowerment to vote, which is exactly the reason why it's one of the more critical issues that should be and needs to be addressed. What I personally love about what you have laid out, and this is to me the kind of thing that I would love to hear more from people who are in the same space as yours, who say that they want to initiate change and want to fully invest in the plans and support to do these things. Is this is the kind of stuff that gets people enthusiastic, gets communities enthusiastic. And there is nothing wrong with a company not just using its own name and its own brand, but also utilizing its resources to galvanize people together for that common cause, for that common understanding. What has it been like so far working with Dee? And obviously we're only like a month or so away from the elections. And this is not about it being political, but it's more about the community and what you're seeing in the eyes of the people and the outreach that's going on. What's that been like for you?
Eye-opening. This year, right? It has been so eye-opening to me. I like looking through rose-colored glasses. I love being a flower child. I love dreaming, right? And I am now dreaming with my eyes wide open. I truly understand and realize how far we have to go. It has been just a moment in my history that I will never forget, being able to sign up African Americans that are young who've never participated in the voting process before, white women who have never participated in the voting process before in underserved communities, as well as business owners that drive by in their S-Class Mercedes, who are in their 50 some odd years of age, that are not people of color, that had never participated in the voting process before, right? This is huge for us. To be able to go into a community and not just talk about it and post about it on social media, but to be about it, to be one-on-one with people, signing up and help them feel the excitement and celebration of why it's so important. I talked about it in my blog that, you know, one year I was traveling so much and working so hard, and my dad said to me, "Well, you might as well throw tear gas on us and kill us like everyone else did." From that point forward, it I didn't realize, and that was years ago. And if I didn't realize, do you know how many other people have sat at home and not realized that their voice counts? They don't understand the process of getting registered. So that's been eye-opening. We will continue the conversation, not just until November 3rd, but forever. This will be forever a part of our platform and what we'll do to impact communities.
Shaw, before you jump in, I just have to say, Danyel, if there's anyone that I want to make sure that conversation continues forward, I want to make sure that you are the valedictorian speaking. I mean, seriously, we don't have enough of your voices talking to the disenfranchised or those who don't know enough about the importance and why it's important to vote. I think too many people are looking too much at the those that are out on them in front of the TV, the personalities, the influencers, and don't look enough between the person next to them, behind them, or in their communities that have as much influence, if not more influence, to speak on behalf of the things that don't get talked about enough. And that's all I just wanted to make sure that I was communicating to you, is because you can take 3 minutes and basically give people a dissertation about why it's so important for them to make sure that they are empowered to understand that what voting means for this, not just this country, but for their community, right? Whereas there's still people out there in quote unquote government, federal government, who do more time disenfranchising our enthusiasm to vote than encouraging our propensity to want to vote. And I just want to make sure that was laid out, full stop.
You summed it up perfectly, Cal. You got to be right next to me. If I'm going to be the valedictorian, you're going to be the salutatorian.
Well, I gotta make sure I give a proper intro like we did earlier. So I'm there. no question.
I think one of the things that I love about you as well, Danyel, too, is I always think about natural born leaders. And it's like, man, did you coach? Because if you were coaching, man, I'd follow you. Whatever you want me to run through that wall, I'm going through it. You just have a great way and great aura about you that I think people are going to want to understand and want to be in your corner one way or the other. And one of the great things, though, I think about leadership is also knowing how and when to follow, as well too, and understanding what the trends are in some aspects, and kind of shifting away from what is obviously a very, very important topic, but kind of going back into the Powerhandz realm itself. You started off as kind of, in one way, one thing. It was a basketball product. Mm-hmm. What sport do you feel has gained the most traction from your product since you launched, 6 years ago? Is it football? Is it boxing? Like what baseball? Like what sport has probably been has shown the most growth for you in that time?
So, of course, I'm going to be a nerd and go to analytics here. So, analytics show that basketball by far is our biggest sport and segment, and that's the way we've marketed, right? The social media numbers from a digital aspect, the presence of basketball, because it's way more electrifying on social media, is huge. The next sport that has definitely been surprisingly, it's a smaller market, but the boxing and the MMA and the striker sport, which is why I pivoted into fitness when I realized that was an $80 billion global market. Like, yes. So
secure the bag, Danyel. Secure the bag.
You're getting in that club. I'm getting to know that bouncer right now.
So shout out to Andre Ward, right, who contacted us and said, hey, I was using your product in Floyd's gym and got a hold of it, but let's really talk about how we can refine it, because I can use this for everything. And to know the number of professional boxers, UFC fighters, right, that are using our product is incredible. And then that fitness piece, right, that just health and wellness, touching the mom that's on the treadmill all the way to the CrossFit mom or guy or girl, all the way to someone that's a heavy lifter, or myself. I designed those gloves for every sport in fitness, but also I put gel padding on them for boxing. So I don't like to wrap. So now we've got a functional product there from a rated glove perspective that's huge. And then we added accessories, resistance bands and gliding disc, and we've got heavy balls that are coming out, etc. So for me, Warren, the numbers, I learned this back in my sales career when you, of course, don't want to look at the numbers. All you want to go out and is lean upon your natural ability. You want to talk to people, you want to close deals, you want to do this, right? But I had this regional manager that said, before you walk out of the door in the morning, you've got to make sure the analytics are driving your business, right? And so really hunkering down and understanding what are people purchasing from us? What are trends that are happening, especially in lieu of COVID? 10 years from now, what's going to happen? That's driven us thus far. And then football. I have to mention football. Man, I'm so excited about football. That is one of the fastest growing segments. And I'll tell you, shout out to a group, QB Legacy, that I'm involved in. So not only am I excited about the wide receivers, the DBs, I'm excited about our product positioning with quarterbacks. That's huge.
It is.
Huge, huge, huge. So there's so much untapped potential, which is why I get so excited 6 years later. I still have so much passion, and that's just around our current portfolio, not where we're going with our new portfolio and then the things we haven't even thought of. So, yeah.
Danyel Jones joining us here, co-founder, CEO of Powerhandz. Be sure to catch them on Instagram at Powerhandz and also the website www.powerhandz.com. That is hands with a Z. Okay. I know that I we can talk for hours, man, but I know that Sean and I, we have a few more questions before we let you go out there and continue your empire of really moving everything forward as normal. Like, you know, one important question that I did want to ask you, and I think it just really encompasses the vision of Powerhandz and you know, I guess maybe future setting for 2021 and moving forward. If everything goes as we hope it goes, that we get beyond the realm of the pandemic, how do you envision Powerhandz again in the forefront, on the other side of this thing? Like right now, it is centric because everything feels home based, home skilled. How do you see things on the other side for Powerhandz as you continue to move the ball forward? I guess is the best way to ask it.
No, great question. And you know, that's where the adaptive leadership hat comes on. And you know, what my adaptive leadership has said is, Danielle, one, you know, understand and invest in your core portfolio. You know, as creatives and innovators, we have so many ideas, right? So it's easy for me to lose focus on what is serving and making revenue today. So how do I clean that up operationally, and I reinvest in our core portfolio? So that's number one, what I'll be doing. So not only, you know, will we have these omni channels for customer experience via e-com, but we're also going into Academy Sports. So we will have, we're going into stores in Louisiana, Texas, Tennessee, and I feel like I'm forgetting one more state, and I'm super excited about it, right? And then we'll have all of our products online, and those stores that I just mentioned, that's for our basketball collection, and then the other for online will be everything. So
real quick, Danielle, just I want to mention, so strategically clever, because especially in those states, some of the more talented All-American first class athletes are coming from, you know, the programs out of that area. And so again, where you are is where it's at, you know, and them having access to those resources, you know, highlights not only the effectiveness of your brand, but also highlights the effectiveness of them and what they're doing to put themselves in the best position possible to go to some of the best colleges, wherever they choose to go, or even be in the eye of some of the best scouts, you know, in professional sports. And I applaud you for that one. That surgically nice, surgically. My Denzel says it real good, but we ain't gonna do it on this segment. But you surgical with it. I like it.
Well, thank you. And I have to give them a shout out. That was developed during the COVID, right? We closed that during COVID. I started the relationship a year or something ago, and I said, I'm going to revisit this now. And I'm going to see how can I help you and how can we partner. So the omni-channel, we're going to continue to invest in the omni-channel, not just e-com, small footprint, of course, from a retail perspective. Next, we're a global company. Man, y'all, once I looked at analytics and I realized that we were selling, I knew sports is a universal language, right? It's an international language. But my gosh, what analytics told me, I'm selling the Philippines, Netherlands, Israel, all where the sports teams, Canada, etc. So I'm really getting smart with expanding my borders, right? I'm taking my surgical knife and I am definitely putting territories in place and channels in place that show models that says you can get Powerhandz here, you can get Powerhandz over here, and oh, we're going to expand to Africa. Where any sports team or sports organization is going, that's where Powerhandz needs to be. If the NBA is going to plant their seed in Africa, well, so is Powerhandz, right? And so expanding beyond my borders is absolutely one of the focuses for the next. The other is, we've always been this performance company, but we're also performance, injury recovery, and injury prevention. And I love when people ask the question, and it was just on social, I saw someone say, how does this help with injuries? Hello, simple science, right? So we're going to continue not only with that messaging, but I'm going to complete my studies on the rehabilitation side. So we can really focus on launching into healthcare so that we can not only impact the person that has an orthopedic injury, that's an upper extremity issue, but we can also impact the neurologic injury. So those that are suffering from stroke, those that are suffering from Parkinson's or any tremors, all we're doing is taking the current therapy and method and expanding it and escalating it. So that piece in the injury recovery and the injury prevention with our 10-pound weighted suit, patented suit, all the way down to our gloves is going to be key. And then the last piece is technology. For the future for us, we are going to have some phased rollouts in technology, and that's going to be able to connect us easier, faster with our consumers, not only from an app perspective, but also connecting users to give them real-time data and feedback.
So I got to say this, I think if I remember reading some of your bio correctly, you do some time at UCF? No?
Yeah.
No. Some time at FIU as well?
Yes.
Wow. Cal and I are UCF alum, so it's very possible we were. It's very possible we were at the same school at the same time.
No.
Very possible. I didn't. I don't know. I looked at it and I was like, nah, that can't be right. But yeah, we both went to UCF.
Incredible.
Yeah, and I did my master's at FIU, so it's trippy. Reflection pond and all, Danielle. Reflection pond and all. So,
wow.
So when
that's pretty awesome.
It is, and it just kind of makes me and Cal. Golden Knights. I feel bad though. I mean, you got a different experience at UCF than we did, apparently, because we're not nearly as accomplished as you are. But nevertheless,
connected, but not accomplished.
we were partying too much, I guess, spending too much time at the reflection pond, reflecting on what our life could be while you were making it happen. So shouts to you for that, for sure, man. I really do appreciate.
Well, so we're all making it happen, and platform to talk about it. So that's huge. Thank you.
No, of course. It's trippy. And my final one is just, again, continue to do what you do. When I look at your social media, especially your personal and then even the Instagram, the Powerhandz Instagram, the one thing I love about the Powerhandz specifically is just it's diversity. There's Black, there's white, there's Asian, there's females, there's kids. Just that investment in the youth and in the future is so massive and so important. And it goes back to, I guess, our earlier point about just how organic this company and this organization is. And it looks like it's going to continue to be. And we just want to continue to wish you the best and utmost of success in everything you're doing, because it's amazing. And let us know if the Baseline and Cal and Warren, even as individuals, can ever do anything for you, because we're definitely, fans of Danyel Surrency Jones and the Powerhandz brand.
Well, and hello, we're Golden Knights. So
yep.
it's
Hey,
to
hey,
all
I'm in a minority up here in New Jersey, so just so you know, this is the best watching parties. This is the closest about the watching parties is gonna get for me, man. Doing these Microsoft Teams Zoom calls, man. Like, you know.
Well, I'm gonna put a challenge out there for us. I know we get the emails, I know we get our Pegas, and I know they just ask for mentors, and we are not. We're also busy, so we need to hold each other accountable because UCF is whoa. I mean,
Expanded.
incredible.
Absolutely.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, more information than you want to know, but my stepdaughter now goes there. So when I've gone back, when we had to move her in, and I'm just looking at the student union was the end of campus when I was there. Now student union is the middle of campus. And I'm just looking around, my head explodes at how big that university is. And it's, again, like all colleges, it's big business now, but to see like the next generation going there as well too, it's kind of crazy. But
I daughter. So let's talk offline because I do have something for you, Lauren, that just came up. So let's definitely talk. And if there's anything that I can do for either of you, right? I am again so proud and so honored that you brought me on in your ecosystem through your podcast. And I listened to some of your episodes. Just great job. If there's any pick up the phone and hey, Danyel, let's brainstorm this, etc. That's what I love. I'd rather be on the giving end than receiving. So if there's something that I can do to continue the success that you guys have, please let me know.
Oh, dude, thanks so much.
CEO, mother, daughter, wife, valedictorian,
Boss.
Oh my God.
and also ambassador. And really one of the best voices that, especially for us in our culture right now, need to hear, empowering not just fellas, but women, Black women, children, and all alike. Danyel Jones, CEO, co-founder of Powerhandz. Again, if you are interested in really one of the premier products that's out there to help the skill set for not just yourself, but even your kids, you definitely go to www.powerhandz.com, the Instagram at Powerhandz. Remember, POWERHANDZ. Danyel, we are just so blessed and so appreciative that you took the time to come out here and talk with our listeners, talk with us specifically. It is an initiative and an enthusiasm that is just heartfelt. And again, thank you for being our first. Certainly will not be our last, but thank you so much for being our first.
Absolutely. And thank you guys. And I look forward to keep staying connected and working on some new things together.
What more can be said, man? I am absolutely left speechless. Not by the fact that it just so happens that Danyel is a Golden Knight like us, or that she is also FIU alum like you two, but I'm just left speechless at how dynamic a person she truly is. And she is exactly the kind of person that I think we need to hear more of, not just in our discourse with what's going on in sports, but just in general. She is so grounded, man, and that is just so encouraging to know that there are people in our communities that still keep a good head on their shoulders and are still forward thinking in the ability to give everyone an opportunity to be a part of something that feels special, that is special. And just, how she has moved this company, Powerhandz, and moved the business and the model and everything. It's all special.
Yeah, I mean, special stuff from a special person, really and truly. And I'm excited the fact that we're able to tell that story of someone who's done as much as she has and still has so much more to do in her local, nationwide, and even world communities, if you will. She's she's amazing, and she stands behind her product, with her business partners and her affiliates and all the people that represent the Powerhandz brand. And this is a company that, like I said throughout the course of the interview, is like, it's organic. They believe in what they believe, and it's not hard to get behind that. I'm just going to show something for those who are catching us on the visual side. This is my Powerhandz glove from literally 5 years ago, still in perfect condition, still can be utilized. I've used it when I work out. I'm not a big workout guy like my man Kyle here, but at the end of the day, especially when I'm shooting hoops, which I'm a big hooper still, not good, but I still hoop. At the end of the day, it's a solid product, right? And from a company that just understands what it means to have a good standing in the world today. And I just, like I said, I meant it truly. She's somebody who I would follow, into the field of battle, so to speak, because I know she would lead us in the right direction.
I think what has amazed me more, and again, we didn't get more of an opportunity to be able to sit down and have this conversation, but again, I don't feel like this will be the only time that we do, is the fact that she recognizes where Powerhandz fits in the narrative of America's dialogue. The fact that she has initiated the power to vote. And listen, we can sit here and jump up, and go into, it sounds, marketish and that's fine. But it's also recognizing that in its present state, it's important and it needs to be discussed. And the fact that she and her partnerships are helping to move that ball forward, to be able to recognize why it's important for them to be in the middle of this fight, speaks volumes. Because, like too much to what she was saying before, she could have her business. And given the fact that she is of a minority set, Black women with their own business who don't get funded, she could basically say, I got to do what I got to do in order to stay afloat, to stay above water. She's not even thinking like that. She's recognizing that she is the boat. She's recognizing that she is also going to go out there and be the Coast Guard. She's going to save as many lives as possible who are drowning in this vicious circle of sharks that is the sports business. And her ability to navigate through that is inspirational. To me, it speaks volumes about how forward-thinking she really is. And the fact that she has indicated how they are now globally recognized, I think speaks volumes. If people talk about American businesses the way that they do, the only way that we speak about American businesses with pride is when we are globalized, is when other countries recognize the ingenuity and the innovation that is started from people like Danyel Jones. And that, to me, just certifies again the importance and the magnitude of what she does, her work, and what it's worth.
Yeah. So, I'll close by saying this, and I've said it before on other shows. People look at the word opportunistic as negative, and it's not always that. Powerhandz and Danyel Surrency Jones, they're opportunistic in a way that makes the most amount of sense for the most amount of good. And that, to me, is just, it's legendary when you think about it from that aspect. They see where there is a role to play, there is a void to fill, and they're taking the opportunity to go out there and do it. And as you so eloquently put, doing it in all aspects that they possibly can, and not just sticking to sports, so to speak, in that way. Sure, it's a sports and exercise product, so to speak, but it's doing so much more for people, and especially through their foundation and the ambassadors and affiliates that they're working with. That reach now is truly global, so that they can do the most amount of good and respond to the things that are happening in our world today. So to me, I want, if optimistic is what it is, I want to be optimistic like Danyel Surrency Jones and Powerhandz have been.
Well, listen, our opportunity was having her on as our first guest, and we hope our listeners were able to enjoy the conversation that we were able to have with her. But more importantly, we hope you guys gained much from the conversation that we've had as well, too. Once again, for those who are interested in Powerhandz and the brand, the product, be sure to go to the website, www.powerhandz.com. That's POWERHANDZ. Also, check out their Instagram. They have a great page, some great shots.
Feel good content, bro.
Feel good content. Be sure to go at Powerhandz. Again, HANDZ. So don't put that S, because who knows what you might wind up jumping on if you don't put it in correctly. Once again, we want to thank our guest, Danyel Surrency Jones, co-founder, CEO of Powerhandz. Shaw, this has been an amazing episode. Obviously, our first, definitely will not be our last. Thank you all for being down with us on our series Branded, and we hope to catch y'all up